Okay. If you observe your program in page number 83, so in that one, you have in a source program, you have first default block for the first time, and then you have a C data for the first time, then you have C blocks for the first time. Then, if you observe carefully, then again you have a default block for the second time, which is resumed in the line number 123. Okay. So then it is continued up to line number 180, and in from line number 183 onwards, once again you have a C data block for the second time. Then again in line number 208, once again you resumed your default block for the third time. Okay. So it will continue up to 240 or 245. Okay, from line number 252, you will have once again the block named C data for the third time. Okay, this is how we are seeing our program blocks in our source program. Okay, so now exactly what happens in object program, how these object program will look like. Okay, you can see here in that page number 83 only. Okay, in that page number 83 only, if you keep on observe your object code column, if you observe object code column, these object codes you have to generate today, and you should compare your object codes with this column. Okay, it is a homework for you. Okay, so right now just observe here. For the first time, you will start your object program from 17, 20, 63 somewhat. First object code is there for the instruction STL return address. Okay, so from that object code you will keep on continuing, and default block it is for the first time what you are writing the object codes is of a default block. And when you will come to line number 92, okay, when you come to line number 92, you will stop that default block, right? So your C data block will start there, and it does not have any object codes there. Are you observing carefully? In line number 92, you will start C data block, but that C data block does not have any object codes. Now that line number 123, line number 123, again you will resume the default block. Okay, and again you will start to continue the list of object codes up to line number 183. So because of that only default block is appeared for the second time here. Okay, so next in line number 183 you have started or resumed your second block, that is a C data. Correct? Yes, correct. In line number 183 you have started the second block C data once again. Okay, and you will keep on listing the object codes which are present in that C data, and obviously there is only one object code is there, that is F1. Okay, so next what you do, you again resume your default block in line number 208, and this default block is appearing for the third time. Then what happens in line number 252, you will resume once again the block C data, and this is the third time that C data is appearing in your object program. This is how your object program looks like. Are you observing the difference between the program blocks appearance or existence of various blocks in your source program and the sequence of arrangement or order of these various blocks which are appearing or existing in your object program? So this all things will be done by assembler by using the algorithms, assembler algorithms. Just now what I explained you, pass 1 and pass 2. Okay, so by using these algorithms, assembler will rearrange these all things, and object code will be like this, in this order or in this sequence. Okay, just remember. So now onwards what happens, actually I told you in the beginning, assembler actually it needs, or loader actually it requires not in this order. It requires the program in some other order. It requires or it expects the completely the first block, that is default block, After the entire completion of the first block, default block only, it wants to load second block, that is C data block. Okay, after the completion of C data block only, it wants to load C block, that is third. Okay, so here if you observe your object program, there is no any block that is called as C block. Why? Because that C block, in C block, there are no any object codes. Okay, remember this one. Then in memory, okay, loader has loaded into the memory. In memory, how exactly your program, object program looks like. Okay, so here relative addresses we have written here. If you observe, you can get it here. So here we had written line numbers, but here we are writing addresses of these blocks. Okay, in memory, how exactly this object program will be loaded? First default block will be loaded for the first time what it was appearing, and the second time what it was appearing it will be loaded, and the third time what it was appearing it will be loaded. Are you observing? So default block will be continuously loaded into the memory. So even though the order of these blocks in object program was like this: default 1, default 2, C data 2, C default 3, C data 3. Here default 1 will be loaded, default 2 will be loaded, and immediately instead of loading C data 2, it will load default 3. So that default block will be continuously completed, then only second block will be taken into the loader. Okay, so loader will then it will load C data for the first time. Okay, even though C data for the first time is not present here, it will load the C data for the first time. Okay, because C data was present here, right? So C data will be loaded here. Why we have not written C data 1 here in object program? Because it was not containing any object codes. So we have not written C data of first. Okay, so but C data of 1 is present in a source program. We cannot leave it, right? So we should take it into this memory. Then after that it will be loaded C data 2, then it will be loaded C data 3. Then after the completion of C data 3 only, it will load C blocks 1, even though it is not present in your object program. Why it is not object? It is not present in object program because C blocks does not have any object codes, so we have not included in our object program. But it is present in our C blocks 1 is present in our source program, so we cannot leave it. So we have to load it also in our memory. So this is how, this is the sequence, this is the order how these different program blocks will be loaded into our memory. Okay, so here if you observe, default block, it is starting in the address 0 and it's ending in the address 0066. So this is the length of default block. Then if you observe C data, it is starting in the address 0066 and it is ending in the address 0071. Okay, so these informations only we have written in our program table, sorry, program block table. Okay, so in address 0071, C blocks will start and it will end in the address 1070. So the entire program's length is 1070 or somewhat 1071, somewhat like that. Because in your object program, if you observe, the length of your program is this much, that is 1071. Sir, how it is 1071? Because when you got this 1070, at last if you observe your program in in page number 83, you have x05 or something there. Yes, it is x05, right? So it will take 1 byte of memory. So after a, we have to add one more no here. So because of that only, the total length will be 1071. Clear? So this is how we have to write the object codes and object programs. Then object program will be loaded into the memory, and in which sequence or order these program blocks will be loaded into the memory. So this is about all program blocks. Clear? Now let me to start second topic, that is control sections. Okay, so in control sections what happens, just now I told you in the beginning of today's class, in previous class, that is the main difference between program blocks and control sections. Just now we completed program blocks. Even though there are 3 program blocks in our program, single program, we will consider the entire program as a single unit or single program. For that single program, we generate or we write only one object program which contains header record, text record, and end record. Okay. Now in program blocks, this is the scene, right? But in control sections, what happens? Control sections are also, there are different parts of program or different blocks of your programs, but they will have their identity of through after the assembly also. I mean, after the conversion of high level to low level, it means after the generation of object code also they will maintain their identity. I will come to that point later, don't worry about it. Okay, so the main difference I am telling you, in control sections, okay, in the program there may be again 3 control sections. Suppose for 3 control sections you will write 3 object programs separately. Okay, so this is the main difference. So here our program consists of multiple control sections, and every control section is nothing but it is a part of the program that maintains its identity after the assembly also, right? So it will maintain its identity after the assembly also. Each such control section can be loaded and relocated independent of others. Here earlier what happens, default block, C data, and C block, they were somewhat interrelated. One was dependent on another one, like that. But here control sections are nothing but they are completely treated as a separate program only. Even though these 3, suppose in our program 3 control sections are there, those 3 control sections are treated as 3 different programs only. Okay, so since we are treating them as 3 different programs, we have to write 3 different object programs. That's all. Okay, so here the control section can be loaded and relocated in independent of other control sections, and different control sections are most often used for subroutines or other logical subdivisions of a program. So these all things you just wait here. And after this topic control section, we have one more concept here, that is linking, because the main topic was here program linking. Program linking is nothing but, so these control sections we have to link together, because earlier just now I told you they are executing, they are running as a independent blocks or independent sections. Later we have to link them, we have to join them. So that is that concept also we will see here. Okay, now here we come to know that one special term that you should remember is called as external reference. External reference. So okay, why this external reference? What it is external reference? Just see here, just observe my mouse pointer. Because control sections are independently loaded and relocated, the assembler is unable to process these references. Correct? Because somewhat, suppose if your previous program only, if you consider here, I told you one example, I was taking there how to generate an object code. That instruction was LDA length. Okay, there what happened is, if you observe that instruction carefully, LDA upcode you will find out from appendix A, no problem. And NIX BPE flag bits also you will write, no problem. But the problem comes to find out or calculation of displacement. It's to find out the displacement, what you have done there, you will find out the address of length. But that length operand, length symbol, length label is defined in a different program block there. Correct? The length was present in C data. It was defined in a C data block actually. Suppose if this is the case, then what happens with the program section, sorry, this control sections? Because I am telling you that control sections are independent. Okay, but this type of dependency may be present there, because suppose control section 1 need to assemble or need to convert its instruction into object code. At that time definitely it has to use or refer the address of any operands in another control section. So at that time, we have to definitely link these all control sections. Because of this dependence only, we have to link these all control sections. And also such type of reference, what you are searching, no length, suppose if it is defined in the control section 2, at that time you will go to control section 2 and you will find out the address of that length. So that type of reference is called as external reference. Observe my mouse pointer, I am showing here. This type of references are called as external reference. Okay, because control sections are independently loaded and relocated. So because of this reason, the assembler is unable to process these references in a usual way or in our normal or common way or common method. So this assembler has no idea where exactly any other control section will be located, or where that control section is beginning or where it is ending. Nothing. Every control section is independent of another control section. Okay, so assembler don't know. Right now it is suppose if it is working on one control section, it does not know where exactly the one more second control section where it will be ended, and in that control section whether a address of length is present or not. Nothing, it does not know about any information about second control section or third control section. So such references between control sections are called as external references. Okay, the assembler generates information for each external reference that will allow the loader to perform a required linking. So loader will perform the linking between these control sections because to avoid this problem. So here I am going to tell you in this program block how we have used one assembler directive called USE, capital USE, use. Okay, so it indicates that it is a beginning of a program block, and in that program block what all the instructions are there, executable instructions may be there, some data areas may be there, small data areas or large data areas may be there, right? So similarly here also in control sections we use control section name. There we used names, no, like default name, C data name and C blocks, right? Similarly here also we will use control section names, and one more statement we use. Instead of USE assembler directive, here we will use one more assembler directive that is called as CSECT. CSECT. It means it is indicating control section. It is the beginning of a control section with the control section name. Okay. So here in our program, the start statement is there. Okay. So if you observe the page number, okay. So you go to page number 89 in your textbook. Okay, page number 89, page number 89. In that program, if you observe, the start statement is there. That start statement identifying, or it is indicating it is the beginning of the assembly, or it is beginning of the program, and it gives a name. What name it is giving? It is a copy. Okay, copy is a name of the program actually, and the same name of the program we are going to take it as a first control section. Name of the first control section. Remember, so in previous program block, how we have taken default as a first program block, here we have taken copy as a first control section of our program. The first section continues until we come across, or assembler come across with the assembler directive CSECT, that is control section. So when you come to line number 109, line number 109, line number 109, you will get this assembler directive CSECT, that is control section. So up to that, copy control section is continued, and from line number 109, line number 109, you will start one more control section. Okay, that control section name we are not writing here explicitly, but already in left column, if you observe in a label column, that control section name is already written. Okay, that label or that control section name is read record. Okay, in line number 109, one more control section is started. Okay, so here again in line number 193, in line number 193, again one more control section statement is there, and this control section statement name is write record, WRREC. Okay, so here here also like our program block, assembler uses separate location counters. One location counter for copy, one location counter for the control section which is called as a read record, and one more location counter variable for write record. So these all control sections, okay, control sections are beginning in the address 0 here also. Like our default block, C data block, C block, we assumed that their starting address or their beginning address as 0. No, similarly these control sections are also starting in the address 0. Okay, then here here if you come to this point here, this is the main difference between program blocks and control sections. Control sections differ from program blocks in that they are handled separately by the assembler. See here, control sections will be handled by the assembler separately. It means assembler will treat these control sections as a separate program itself, even though these control sections, all three control sections are present in the same program. Okay. Now come to symbols. In these control sections, we have some programs, some symbols. Symbols that are defined in one control section may not be used directly by another control section. So here, suppose length is defined in control section number 2. Then it cannot be directly used in control section 1 or control section 3. Write this. Like this. Suppose a symbol is defined in one control section. Okay. So that symbol cannot be directly used by second control section or third control section. So they must be identified as a external references. I will show you. I will explain you everything. Don't worry about these all things. Just I am reading. Okay. For loader to handle. Okay. Such type of symbols are called as external references. And figure 215, that is page number 89, shows the use of two assembler directives to identify such references. In our program, if you observe carefully, in addition to this assembler directive C sec, that is control section, we have two more additional assembler directives. Those assembler directives are nothing but extdef. Okay, it is pronounced as external definition. One more assembler directive is extref, that is external reference. So what are those assembler directives are doing? See here, the external definition statement in a control section names the symbol. It means it identifies the symbols as a external symbols. Okay, so it will call these symbols as a external symbols. What it is? External definition statement in a control section names or gives the names to these symbols, and that symbols are called as external symbols. And what these symbols are, where these symbols are defined? These symbols are defined in this control section only, as its name itself is. Just understand, external definition. Okay, so the symbols are defined in presently in which control section I am. In that control section only they are defined. The symbols are defined, but those symbols can be used by some other control sections also. No, so because of that only, for other control sections, these symbols are external symbols. Okay. Okay. So in your external lab exam also, you know, one examiner will be internal examiner, one examiner will be external examiner, right? So here also, suppose if your sir or if your teacher who is working in your college, if he is appointed as an external examiner to some other college, okay, then for those students, I am external examiner. But if I am an examiner in our own college, then I am internal examiner, right? Similarly, here also, if the symbols are defined in one control section number 1, then those symbols will be treated as a external symbols for control section 2 and control section 3 or some other control sections. Okay, so for that, who all are the control sections? Okay, so different external symbols, to define them we have one assembler directive external reference. Okay, so then the control section names in this copy, read record and write record do not need to be named in a external definition. So we need to explicitly write these copy, read record and write record explicitly as a external definition, because by automatically by default they are external reference, because copy is one control section, read record is one control section, write record is one control section. Definitely then copy is external for read record and write record. Read record is external for copy and write record, and write record symbol is external for copy and read record. I hope you are understanding. Okay, no need to write them once again as a external definition or external symbols. No need to make a list of these as a external definition. It is common sense. It is by default automatically we should understand that they are external symbols. Okay, but one more assembler directive is there, extref, external reference. What it means? It means that this statement names the symbols that are used in this control section, and but they are defined in somewhere else. It means that the symbols which are used in this control section, but they are not defined in this control section, they are defined in some other control section. Okay, I know very well you are getting confusion. Don't worry, in the next slide I will tell you clearly. Okay, just I am making you to remember these assembler directives, external definition and external reference, that's all. Okay, now for examples, buffer, buffend and length are defined in a control section called copy, but they have used in other control sections, so that external definition statement we should write. Okay, similarly the third control section WREC uses two of these symbols as specified in the external reference statement. Okay, you just forget about these all things. You come to this slide on my screen. What I am showing you here, two assembler directives are there. Okay, one is external definition. Okay, second one is external reference. If you observe your program carefully, here three control sections are there: copy control section, read record control section, write record control section. Okay, so when you come to copy control section, which is like a main function of your C program, you have used two more assembler directives here, that is external definition and external reference. If you observe carefully external definition, here I have made a list of some labels or symbols. What are those? Buffer, buffend, length. What it is indicating? These all are external symbols. External symbols, and they are defined in they are written as an external definition. And just remember the meaning of external definition once again with pencil I have written here. Okay, external definition meaning is only this much for your easy understanding purpose. In just two words I explained here. External definition is nothing but, as its name itself is defined. Okay, right, external definition. First, the symbols are defined in the present control section or current control section, and those symbols whatever you have defined, no, those symbols are used by some other control sections, that's all. Such kind of symbols you should write them in an external definition assembler directive. If you observe here, I have written buffer, buffend and length. You can see here in this control section copy only, I have defined them: buffer, buffend and one more is what here? Buffer, buffend and length. Length is here. Are you observing? Buffer is defined here, buffend is also defined here, and length is also defined here. For buffer, how many bytes you are reserving? 4096 bytes you are reserving. And for buffend, how much you are reserving? What you are storing in buffend value? Which value you are storing in buffend? You are storing a current value of a location counter. I already told you this star represents a current value of location counter, whatever it may be. Here I have not written location column here, addresses. In the next page I will write it. Don't worry about it now. So whatever it may be, location counter, present location counter value I am storing in the buffend. And how you are defining length? How much amount of memory you are reserving for it? You are reserving one word for it. So all three symbols I defined here only. In which control section? Copy control section. So I am writing these three as a external definition. It means that I have defined here, but other control sections can use them. But for them, they will be treated as a external symbols. If you observe this control section read record, here I have used buffer, okay, I have used length, I have used buffend also, right? All three symbols I used here. So it was defined in copy, they were defined in copy, but they were used in a read record control section. Since you are using them here, you should mention it as, you should mention them as external reference in this control section I am talking, okay? In read record control section, you should mention them as external reference. What this external reference is telling, here come to this pencil recording here, what I have written here. External reference is nothing but some symbols I am using in this control section, okay? I used some symbols in this control section, but they have not defined in this control section. They have defined somewhere else. They have defined in some other control section. Are you understanding now? Here in external definition, defined and used, but in external reference it is used and defined. So here buffer, length and buff end used in this control section, but they have defined in the copy. So to make it clear to assembler or loader, we are using these external definition and external reference assembler directives. I hope you understood now. Okay. And this control section CSECT is also called as assembler directive, like USE. Okay. In addition to USE, CSECT, in this particular page, we have started to use a new two more assembler directives. One is external definition and second one is external reference. I hope it is clear for you. And if you come to this control section, that is write record, this control section is also assembler directive, remember, okay? And name of this assembler directive, sorry, control section is a write record, okay? So here, once again, I am defining two symbols as a external reference here. Why? Because it is a clear meaning that length and buffer, they are not defined here, they are just used here, but they are defined, they have defined in copy. Clear now? Okay. Now if you observe this control section read record and control section write record, only we are using the symbols which were defined in main control section, which is a copy control section. Because of that only, we are not writing the assembler directive external definition here. Okay, that statement assembler directive we have not written here. Okay, so if you observe carefully this control section, copy control section, we have written external reference also as well as external definition also here. Already I explained you why external definition, and in external definition what all the symbols are there, that is buffer, buffend and length, right? So both of these two statements are assembler directives, already you know it. Okay, now I come to this point now, that is external reference. I already told you its meaning. What are the symbols here? Read record, write record, right? Read record and write record symbols are used here, used in copy control section, but they have not defined here. They have defined in control section read record, and one more is defined in control section write record. So for copy control section, read record and write record control sections are external references. Clear now? Okay. So sir, defined in read record control section and write record control section, but where we are using it here, because external reference says that I am using read record and write record here. So where we are using, in line number 15 we are using, we can observe here, plus j sub read record, here I am using it, and write record I am using it in line number 65, line number 65. Is it clear now? So these are two assembler directives, external reference and external definition. Okay. here, since this is very important now, since for example, if you want to assemble or if you want to convert the C loop, okay, the C loop label and upcode is a plus JSON, operand is a read recorder. If you want to convert it into object code, here a very interesting thing is in instruction format number, instruction format number 4, because of this plus point I am talking about instruction format 4, okay, please be alert. Okay, in instruction format number 4, last 20 bits of field, we will call it as address field, correct? So those address field, if you observe carefully here, those address fields are all are 0 here. Why 0? Because this plus jsub is in line number 15, right? So this line number 15 is present. This line number 15 is present in which control section? Copy control section, correct? And remember, control sections work independently. It means assembler handle them. Assembler treats them independently or separately. So copy control section does not know what is the address of read record. So because of that only, assembler simply takes this address as 0. It assumes it as a 0. Are you understanding? Okay, because read record was defined in the separate control section, which is called as read record control section itself, actually in line number 109. Are you understanding? Okay, so because of that only, it has taken address as a 0 here. So wherever you will get such type of problems, it means if you don't know, if you get the operand is defined in some other control section, then you just simply take the address as a 0. Okay, so because of that only, they have taken it as here 0. So this point I wanted to tell you here. So because you are only going to generate once again the object code for this program also, the program for page number 89, which is shown in the 89. Okay, but if you open page number 91, page number 91, here the same program is written here, which with the control sections with the location column. Okay, so these object codes also today only I want you to generate, and today only you have to send to me. Okay, please make it note, these are the homeworks. One homework is you have to find out the object codes for the program which is present in line number 83, sorry, page number 83. The program which is present in page number 83, you should find out object codes. And also you should find out object codes for the program which is present in line page number 91. Page number 91. Page number 91 program. But be very careful here. Just now I told you, keep in your mind that I am working on control sections. Okay, and keep it in your mind that I am working on program blocks. When you are working on program blocks, how to find out object code, already one example I have shown you there, that is LDA length or something I told you, correct? Okay, but here I am telling you, you should be once again very much careful here, because you are working on control sections. Each control section is treated as a separate program. One control section does not know the another control section, and one control section does not know the symbols which are defined in some other control sections. Because of that only, the address, if it doesn't know, then simply you take it as a 0. If you observe line number 35 also, once again, write record is an external reference for copy, right? Write record is also external reference for copy. So because of that only, they have taken once again the address for this write record as 0. If you observe line number 65, once again plus jsub write record is there. Once again they have taken it as a 0 here. Okay, like this you should be very much careful, and you should generate the object code for these all instructions. Okay, okay, now what I do is, I come to this part, that is line number 160. Okay, in line number 160, what is there? One instruction is there. Once again, it is a fourth format instruction, that is plus stch buffer comma x. If you observe, they also have taken once again 0000 as address. Why it is? Because I think stch stch is in line number 160. Okay, and what you do, you will find out opcode of stch and you will write the nix bp flag bits, everything. But when it comes to this address field, you want to find out address of buffer, you will not get in read record also. Address of buffer you will not get in write record also. And because of that only, you have made this buffer as an external reference here, right? Why it is external reference? It says clearly buffer is used in this control section, but it is defined in some other control section which is called as copy. And when you come to copy, you will find out the address of buffer here as a 0033. So since buffer is in some other different control section, simply they have taken it as a buffer address. They have assumed it as a 00 because this read record control section does not know the address of buffer. Are you understanding? Okay. Similarly, for this line number 175 also, plus stx, length is defined in a copy control section. So read record does not know the address of length, so they have taken it as also 0. Once you come to line number 190, there again buff end is there and buffer is there. Both of them are external reference, buffer and buff end. Once again, because of that only, since you don't know the value of a buff and buffer, if you know the value, you could subtract it and you will tell the answer, and you will tell that you will write that value here. But since you don't know the value of buffer and you don't know the value of buff end, you should consider it as once again as a 0. Okay. Similarly here also plus LDT length, because length is the external reference, you should take the address of length as a 0 here. Because buffer is a external reference, you should take address of buffer as a 0 here also. Okay, so this is how you should write the object code for this program, which is in page number 91. Okay, this is what I wanted to tell you. These all things explanations only they have given in this page. Next I will go to now, after writing object codes, what is the next step? Next step is to write the object program, right? Already you know the object program syntax or format: header record, text record, and end record. And again, if you want to use this one, what is that? Again, if you want to write a modification record, you can write that modification record also. Okay, but since you are using control sections here, and you are using two assembler directives here, external definition and external reference, you should include two more new type of records in your assembler directive, sorry, in your object program. Those records are define record and refer record. So totally, how many number of records may be present in your object program now? You know already header record, you know already text record, you know already end record, you know already modification record. Now in the next class, I will explain you about define record and refer record, because you are defining the symbols and you are referring the symbols in some other control section. Okay, I mean you are defining here, but you are using them in somewhere else. Okay, for that you have to use assembler directive external definition. For that you have to write one separate record here, that is a defined record. Okay, and one more is refer record. What that refer record says, you are using the record, you are using the symbols here, but those used symbols are defined in some other control section. So one assembler directive is there for that, that is external reference. For that also I have to include one more new record, that is a refer record. So don't worry, this class will be ended soon now. In the next class, I explain you how to write the object program by including these two types of records. Okay, I hope you understood today's both the classes, two classes. Please go through these all concepts, whatever I am explaining you today. I explained you, and also please try to complete the assignment today itself. Find out, generate object code for the page number 83 and 91. Okay, in 83 you are working on program blocks, and in page number 91 you are working on control sections. Keep this in your mind. Okay, be very careful when you generate the object codes. Okay, have a nice day, and let us meet in next class tomorrow. You can leave the meeting now.